Hello, I'm Grant, and welcome back to Phrasal Verb News, where we use real news stories to teach you phrasal verbs and idioms in context. Now, today is Friday, which means it's time for our weekly review. We're going to do a quick review of the 4 stories from the week and the expressions that we learned. Let's get started. Our first story is about the U.S. government buying into Intel. The U.S. government recently acquired a 10% stake in Intel using funds that were already set aside to go to Intel through a government program called the CHIPS Act. So, in a way, the government is cashing in on this existing money. Now, this is a quite rare move into the private sector, and the goal of this is to help Intel bounce back from years of losses and to support their American manufacturing facilities. The first word here was bounce back, meaning to recover, or recuperarse in español. Next, we had back off, which means to retreat or kind of stop pressuring someone in a negotiation. Es como echarse para atrás. This one we used because initially Trump was threatening and actually calling for the CEO of Intel to be fired, but after they met in person and negotiated this deal, he backed off. Next, we had cash in on, which just means to take advantage of something, to profit from something, como sacar provecho de o aprovechar de algo. And next, we have get into, is just to enter a new area or a new hobby. Es como meterse en. Our next story was about the end of the de minimis tariff exception. So the de minimis exception just allowed any package under $800 to enter the U.S. duty-free, and Trump recently ended this exception. So now European shippers feel like they're boxed in, and many actually had to press pause on shipments to the US while they try to sort out the new rules. Here we have boxed in, which is a play on words, and it means kind of trapped with no options, como acorralado en español. Next, we have sort out, like to solve a problem, como resolver en español. Next, we have press pause to temporarily stop, poner en pausa. You would also use press pause if you're watching a video on the internet and you press pause to temporarily stop it. Then we had take effect, meaning something officially begins, como entrar en vigor. And lastly, we had loophole. Now, a loophole is kind of a gap in the law that allows people to avoid the law in a legal way. Es como un vacío legal, un resquicio legal. So Trump had said this de minimis exception was a big loophole for shippers, and now it is closed. And as a matter of fact, this took effect today on August 29th. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with international shipments to the US, especially with smaller e-commerce purchases that previously benefited from this rule. Our third story this week was a tragic one about a Russian adventurer and mountaineer named Natalia Nagovitsina, who is currently stranded on a mountain after breaking her leg going down one of the world's toughest peaks called Victory Peak. Rescuers set out to help her, but eventually had to call off the search because it was too dangerous. So here we have set out, which means to begin a journey, como emprender. Next, we have run into, which is to encounter a person or problems by chance, como toparse con. Next, we have drop off, which means to leave something with someone. For example, in the morning, you may drop off your kids at school. In the story, they dropped off supplies to Natalia. And pull through means to survive a difficult situation, como salir adelante en español, pero no exactamente. But you can say, I hope she pulls through. Like, I hope she's able to endure this challenge and survive. And lastly, we had kind of a fun story about the mystery of the Bermuda Triangle. Now, the Bermuda Triangle is this mysterious place in the Caribbean where ships and planes are said to disappear, but one Australian scientist said he doesn't subscribe to wild conspiracy theories about the Bermuda Triangle. Instead, he says that statistics can clear up this mystery, and he even points out that bad weather is also a big factor in the disappearances of these vessels. So here we had subscribe to, which means to believe in an idea, como adherirse a. Clear up just means to explain or resolve, como aclarar. Point out means to highlight or draw attention to something, como señalar. And write off is to dismiss something. So the scientists wrote off supernatural explanations about the Bermuda Triangle. Es como descartar. And lastly, we had live on, which means to continue existing. We often say the legend of a person or the legend of a story lives on. Sigue vivo. To wrap up, Intel hopes to bounce back. Shippers feel boxed in by new tariffs. Rescuers had to call off a mountain mission. And the Bermuda Triangle mystery continues to live on. Gracias por escuchar. I'm Grant, and this has been Phrasal Verb News. Don't forget to subscribe on Spotify or YouTube so you don't miss next week's episodes. And as always, if you're looking to improve your business English so you can communicate more fluently and more confident in your professional life, I offer one-on-one and group classes, so send me a message or an email at grant@businessasusualenglish.com.